Hey y'all, it's ROPEDGE from Horseland again. This is my second tutorial. So this time we're going to work on coding a image layout. So the difference between coding an image layout and a layout image, to me an image layout means you've already pre-made your scrolls on the image like so. So you already have all your credits and stuff ready for the image, and basically you don't have to worry about anything else. So let's get started. So we need to start off with our style tag, style and in style, and then you want to do your div ID container, which means you're going to have everything in this container div. It quote unquote contains everything you have. And then you want to make sure you have your div ID layout. This way you have a space for your layout image. Next you want to put our scroll content. So I'm going to do this real quick. BR stands for break, which means there will be a space. If something ever doesn't work in a code, especially when you're using styles, make sure you have everything spelled correctly. I can't count the number of times I've tried to figure out why something isn't working. If you hadn't seen my prior video, creating headers, basically you do H1 for your main header. For headers, you have an H1 all the way down to H6. H1's the biggest, H6 is the smallest. So usually do H1 as your main header, H2 as your subheader. I'm sorry if this part 1 video seems a little more rushed. After recording everything, I realized that the first part didn't save, so I had to come back and recreate it. To make my life easier on this second scroll, I'm just going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to just do that. You can use just about anything for filler text. There's even a website that will do it for you. Basically, if you go to Google, you type in Greek text. You click on this first generator, it's lorem ipsum. So basically you tell it how many paragraphs you want of Greek text, you press enter. And it'll give you that many. You just copy and you paste it in your text area. Alright, so now we want to, finishing putting our filler stuff in. So then we can move on to the fun part. At least fun according to me. I love to code. Alright, so now we want to go through and add all our styles and set our layout up completely. So we're going to do body, margin, 0, and padding, 0. Basically this means you're clearing any prior styles that could be on the web page. It gives you a blank slate to work on. Then you want to do background dash color. So here I already have all my colors ready to go right here, so these 3 dots will not be on the real image. Yeah, so there you have your body thing done. Later we'll come back in and we'll edit our text. We're going to set up our container. Alright, so we must remember for our container div, it's very important to have your margin, and you set it to 0 auto. I think what you can also do is you can just make it margin auto. It will do the same thing, and you put your, then you want to put your padding to 0. So this will set up and center your layouts. On Horseland it doesn't matter as much, but when you're actually doing real web design, it plays a huge role. Next we want to make sure we set up the width. Basically all you need to do here is you go and you right click, and you can look at your properties, and here it says it's 1020 by, well, we only need the 1020 pixels, and int. So your container is now done. We're going to save that. Go ahead and save this as index.html. Make sure you always put the .html, otherwise it will not save as an HTML document. And let me show you how you can start to view this in, you can actually view this in a web browser. So what you do is you right click, and you go to open with, and you can use Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, basically any web browser usually. I'm just going to use Chrome. Basically all we see is our scrolls because I don't have the layout image in yet. So let's go add our layout image. So basically what you do here is you do your pound. I feel like I didn't explain this before. So when you're working with IDs, an ID is when you're wanting to call to your ID, you use a pound sign and then you write the word. So you do pound layout, so it calls to your layout div. You want to make sure you put your float left, so it pushes it to the far left of your layout. Then you want to make your width the same size as your image. Since we already know it's 1020, we can put that, but we need to go back and look at our height. So let's look at that again. Right click, properties, 1303, as seen right here. Or you can also read the height and width right here. It doesn't really matter. So it's 1303 pixels. And then finally, you need to do background dash image URL parenthesis apostrophe image length, direct image link, apostrophe and parenthesis, end your line with the semicolon, and then in squiggly bracket. So let's save this. I'm pressing Ctrl S to save. And reload. So now we have our image on here. Alright, so finally what we need to do is make sure we add our scroll divs in. So let's do pound sign, scroll 1. In theory you can name your IDs anything you want, just make sure you remember what it is later to put it into your command. So instead if you want to call it 1 or about or anything to just characterize the name of it, it doesn't matter. I'm just calling it scroll 1 because it makes it easier for yourself, and if you sell it as a pre-made later, it makes it easier for the buyer. So we want to make sure we put float left and overflow scroll. And that's all we're going to do for now. We're just going to make sure it's to the farthest left, and we're going to make sure it's a scroll. We're going to copy this. I do Control C, and then we're going to Control V, which is paste. I'm going to go back here, and since I named the second scroll scroll 2, I'm just going to delete the 1 and write 2. Basically, that's all you need to do for now. We'll come back for part 2 to put these scrolls here on your image. Let me save this and show you what we did. So watch what happened here. So now we have our scroll bars.